All right, perfect. So we are recording. All right, awesome. Hey, how's everybody doing today? All right, excellent. So we are going to be going over printing and scanning, and more so on how to adjust your computer settings and your scanner settings so it works for you. And we're also going to be going over Adobe Pro, and we'll touch on Adobe Reader and the differences between the two, because utilizing Adobe Pro and your printer and scanner is one of the biggest key components of your notary career. And especially if you are a brand new notary, you're probably going to go through some printing and scanning problems. And look, we've all been there. You hit print, prints the packages all weird and cut off. It's super stressful, especially if it's on your first signing and you get documents like 2 hours before the closing. So hopefully a lot of the content in here can cure that. Now, and I have gone through Adobe and Adobe scanning and printing and created some short training videos. Three of them are about 10 minutes and the final one is about 20 minutes long. And you can view those on the Notary Star site. And I do a screen sharing tutorial just to make it easy for you, to show you, what you need and how your printing and scanning should be set up. So I am going to get my screen shared, and all of this is going to be hands-on because I don't know about all of you, but I always learn easiest when I get a visual representation of what is supposed to be done. Okay, so first thing we want to talk about is Adobe. So Adobe is what you are going to be printing from, an Adobe PDF. It's kind of like a Word document. It's a little more challenging to alter it, and it's more involved to do so. But when Title issues you your closing packages, you're going to see it come in a file just like these to the left, these red ones here. So those are Adobe PDFs. Now, if you have this training today, it's more going to focus on Microsoft Windows. Maybe I can do an Apple one in the future. It's very similar, but they are a lot different. But the Microsoft Windows PCs are a lot easier to conduct your job on. So Adobe Reader and Adobe Pro. The first thing you need to do is install this on your computer. Now, most computers already come with Adobe Reader installed on them. And if you're wondering if Adobe Reader is installed, this little search box down at the bottom of your computer, I use this all day long because I don't like to go fishing in my file trees and everything. So just click Adobe or click on the search button at the bottom and type in Adobe and see what pops up here. And as you can see, Adobe Reader, DC, I have the Pro version. So I already have it installed on my computer and I don't need to go to their website and download it. Now, if you don't already have it, you do need to go to their website and download it. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. And I'll show you how to find it as well. So this is the Adobe site, just getadobe.com. And you guys, if you ever have trouble finding this, Google it. And it's usually going to be the first couple of hits. Let's see, download. Yeah, and it'll be your first hit right there. So very, very easy to find. Now it's going to give you two versions you can download, Adobe Acrobat Reader DC and Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. What you want to keep in mind is the Adobe Acrobat Reader, that's the free version. The Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, you have to pay like a monthly subscription for it. I think it's $30, but this is going to be one of your best investments in a notary career. And you're going to see why today, because the only thing that Adobe Acrobat Reader is really good for, as far as a notary goes, is you can print your documents from it. With Adobe Acrobat Pro, you're going to be able to merge your PDFs, rotate your PDFs, compress your PDFs. You can fill in PDFs too with it. So it gives you a lot of customizations that you can do with the PDFs and stuff that you are going to need as a notary signing agent. Now, when you download Adobe Reader or Adobe Pro, and I'm just going to focus on Adobe Pro because, again, they serve the same purpose, except Adobe Pro has, you know, all the bells and whistles that you're going to need. So once you download Adobe Pro, you want to make sure that you set the settings in Adobe. So when you open up a PDF, it actually opens up in Adobe, in the Adobe software application. And let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So if I were to open up this PDF, this is our training closing package that I'll go today. It's upside down for a reason, I promise you. So it's opening up in the Adobe software application. So this is what you want. It's just a separate window. It almost kind of looks like a Word document. What you don't want to do is open it up in your internet browser, because doing that can give you printing issues, because the software application is where you're going to print from. And we're going to take a look at the Adobe printing window here in a little bit. In order to do that, you can go to any PDF, or you can even go to the actual Adobe Acrobat DC icon in application. It doesn't really matter where you do it from. But if we go over to a PDF that's on our computer, if you right click, and keep in mind, anytime you right click, it's going to open up a window and give you a bunch of options, you know, for that file and program. Now, for your Mac users, it's been forever since I used a Mac, since I quit them years ago. But I know a lot of the Apple mouses only have a single click button. So you might have to hold down the command key and click on it for this window to open. But for PC users, you're just gonna right click on it. Next thing you want to do is go down to properties. No, excuse me. That's in the next part. You want to click on open with. And another submenu is going to come up. This will let you choose how you want to open this PDF. So I have the options to open it up in the Adobe Acrobat DC software application, which is where we want to open it up, or I can open it up in an internet window like Google Chrome. So if I were to open it up in Google Chrome, it looks just like this. Plus, it's going to have your web address. But I do not recommend opening these up in an internet browser, because when you print from the internet browser, that's where you can run into problems with your computer kind of button heads with your printer and your documents printing out all wacky and not right. Now, you can set this to open up permanently in the Adobe software application. So again, you just go over to any PDF, right click, you're gonna hover over open with. In this drop down menu, just click on choose another app at the very bottom. And this window is gonna open up. You're gonna get this nice option down here, always use this app to open PDF files. So I'm gonna click on that. And whatever one I select here, anytime I double click on a PDF, it's going to open it up with this program. So I want it to always open up in Adobe Acrobat DC. Now, if you do not have the professional version and you have Adobe Reader, it should give you the option to always open up within Adobe Reader. And again, you can choose, you know, Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, PDF Viewer Plus, whatever that is. But this is the one that you always want to have it opened up in, is the actual Adobe software application. And if I hit OK, it opens up within Adobe. So this first part, I just want to keep it basic as could be, download Adobe and make sure you go into your settings so it actually opens up into the Adobe software application. Again, printing, when you start to get to printing, if you print from Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or even Safari on Apple's, it's probably the worst browser out there, you will have, I don't want to say will, but you can have printing trouble, because here on the unlimited side of things, when I review scans or I get calls that notaries are having trouble printing, these are the first questions that I ask the notary. I'm like, okay, are you using a PC or an Apple? And are you printing from the Adobe software application, or are you printing from Google Chrome? And most of the time they're either going to answer me Apple, or I'm printing from the internet window, and I have to, walk them through this if I'm on a time crunch to get these scans up for recording. So just keep in mind, make sure you download, and the $30 investment a month for a signing agent is going to be one of your best ones, is to have the software application. All right, next we are going to talk about printer settings. So when you buy a brand new printer, read the manual. I highly encourage you to read the user's manual, and also, go online to YouTube and as such and put your model number in there. I'm sure there's a lot of people with videos on it. That's going to be some good information. But you need to make sure your settings are correct on your printer and on your computer, and that you do have a driver as well. Let me stop sharing my screen so I can actually talk to you all here. So a couple things you want to keep in mind. There's 3 things that I want to pay attention to, when I get a new printer. Number 1, make sure the trays are set on my PC. Make sure the paper tray size is also set on the printer itself, and download the driver. So you guys, I am not a tech guru, by all means. I am not. I can use Photoshop a little bit, but I am really good at learning, what I need to learn for the job to be done. So with the drivers, keep in mind, when you buy a product, a lot of times that product has been updated since that thing has been put in the box. And so what the drivers do, they are updated software application that helps your printer and your computer communicate between each other. It's like you have a printer, you have a computer, and it's a handshake between the two. It lets them know how to interact with one another, so they're each doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's say if I were to buy a brand new printer, the first thing I'm going to do is open that printer up. I'm going to turn it on, get it set up, get it hooked up to your Wi-Fi, or hardwire it to your computer, whatever your preference is with that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download the drivers for the computer so they can install on my, on my PC. If you have trouble with that, so if you buy a Brother or an HP, make sure to contact their customer support for any assistance. I know their customer support gets a bad rap, but I've had, some pretty good luck with them. If you don't feel like you're getting the answer that you need, hang up and call them again and speak with somebody else. That tricks seems to work pretty well, too. But key one with your dual tray printers is you want to set your trays, 1 tray to legal and 1 tray to letter. It's your choice whether you want the top tray to be letter or the bottom tray to be legal. It's really not consequential either way, but I always have my top tray as letter and my bottom tray is legal. So you need to go into your printer. It usually has that little digital interface on it, and you need to find the section in there, and you can find it in your manual, to where you can set those trays at. Now, second part is our drivers. So you can, let me get my screen back up here. All right, second part is your drivers. You're going to go typically to the printer's website and get those. That easiest way to find where your driver's at, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, you've probably been hearing it for the past 20 years, is, you know, Google it. So I have the Brother, I think 5200D. And I'm just going to Google Brother 5200D drivers. There it is right there, right on top. And it's going to take you to the Brother site, and it's going to ask you, hey, what kind of computer do you have? So I'm operating Windows 11. Now, if you don't know what kind of computer you have, you can do it in your system preferences. So let's say it's asking you if you have a 32-bit or a 64-bit. Honestly, guys, I have no clue what that means myself, but you know, we want to get the appropriate driver to match it. And you can usually go into your system preferences. And I didn't write this down on my lesson plan because I just thought about it now. Let's see if I can find it. No, I'm not going to go fishing for it. Yeah, here it is. And this just tells me all the specs on my computer. And all I typed in is, you know, I don't even remember what I typed in. Did I do Windows version? Yeah, I just typed in Windows version, and it tells me what type of Windows I have, how much memory it has, tell you all the components. That way you can get a match for, you know, what you need. So I have a Windows 11 and I'm going to hit OK. Now with the Brother site, usually at the top, it's going to say full software package. This is the one that you would want to download, because what that's going to include is the drivers, any utilities, their management tools, firmware, etc. This is going to give you the whole kit and caboodle. And if you click on this, it's going to take you through a download process and an installation process. Now, what hung me up with this one for a little bit, because I never downloaded printer drivers before, is just because they're downloaded doesn't mean they're automatically going to be applied to your computer. And we will show you where you're going to do that at. So keep in mind, a little magnifying glass. This is kind of the window to your computer. I need to find my printer. I'm just going to type in printer, and you're going to go to the printer and scanners option. And you're going to find your printer. So I have the 5200 DW. And I want to click on printer properties. And this dialog box is going to pop open. There we go. So you want to click on the General tab. And right down here, oh, that's not where it's at. Well, right there, it says Brother Laser Type 1 class driver. But there is a place that you actually set that at. Yeah, here it is. So you want to click on Advanced to actually choose the driver. And it'll say right there, driver. Give you the whole drop-down list. And that class 1 driver is the one that you just downloaded from the Brother site. And you'll click on that. And usually apply is going to go bold. So you want to click on apply so it actually applies that driver. Now, if you need help with this, again, reach out to your printing support, because unless I'm just completely missing it, which may be, It's the Brother Class 1 driver, but I don't see anything in here that calls it the Class 1 driver. So I wasn't sure that I needed to select that. It's not super transparent about that. So if you need driver help, contact your printer support, and usually they can get you to like a level 2 technician where they take over your computer and, have them do it. Okay, so that is how you do your drivers. Now, third thing, we need to set our trays in our computer. So keep in mind, you need to set your tray on the printer itself. And for lesson's sake today, even though it's not consequential, we're just going to say tray 1 letter, tray 2 legal. So you buy the printer, you need to go into the printer interface on the actual printer itself, set tray 1 letter, tray 2 legal, download the drivers, make sure you select the driver or it'll install it. Then you select the driver in your printing preferences. And this was the other one that kind of hung me up with my printing woes here. Because the third place is you need to set your trays in your computer too. Because if they're not set in the computer, that can give you some trouble as well. And it is going to be in the same exact place. So we're in the Brother printing preference window. And you want to click on device settings. I wish I could zoom in on this, but for some reason it will not let me. So device settings. And down here, you can see where it says tray 1 letter. Now, most other computers that I've been on, I have a Microsoft Surface Pro X. So it has some funky different things, but it says manual on mine. I don't know why it does that, but usually it's going to say tray 2. But if you see tray 2 or manual below, that's going to be your second tray. And you want to click on legal. So now you have tray 1 letter, tray 2 legal set on your printer and on your computer. And always remember to click apply once you make those changes, because if you just hit OK, it may not go through with the change. So tray 1 letter, tray 2 legal. And that's all you should need to do, and your computer and your printer should print the mixed legal and letter pages without issue. Now, one trick that seems to work a lot for me is if you set this or make any changes on your computer and you try and print and oh my goodness, it's still not working, make sure you close down all your applications and do a full restart on your computer. Sometimes fully restarting your computer, it just resets it and it'll work perfectly fine. So always try that trick before you get frustrated and kick the garbage can down the road. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now we're actually going to get into printing. So we're going to print, and I'm going to show you what the Adobe print window actually looks like and how to utilize it. That way your settings can be correct when you print these closing packages. So we have our PDF here. Actually, let me pull up the full package because there's some content in there I need more pages on. Okay, so we have our PDF. So you just got an assignment and you need to print out your closing package. Closing instructions state that you need to print as is, meaning legal and letter. So when you print, you can go up here to the left, File, click on Print, and your Adobe print window is going to pull up. Now, you can go other methods by printing. If you like shortcut keys, which I do, hold down the Control button, press P, and it's going to pop right up. So a couple of things that you want to pay attention to when you're printing the closing packages is up here, you want to make sure that your printer is selected. because if your printer that you just bought isn't selected and you hit file print, nothing's going to happen. So I already have the Brother 5200 DW series selected, so we're good there. The properties and advanced boxes, I've never had to open or use those. Now down here, pages to print, you can select all or the current page that you're on, or you can do a page range. So if I only wanted to do 1 through 10, it's 1-10, and you're going to get the first 10 pages, but we'll keep it as all. Page size and handling, size, poster, multiple, booklet. I've never had to change anything in here. However, there's 4 options down here: fit, shrink oversized pages, actual size, and custom scale. What I want to mention about this section is this has no impact on like shrinking your text. This choose paper source by PDF page size, whether it's on or off, that one will, and we'll get into that in a second. So when I print a closing package, I always click on shrink oversized pages, because what that does is it just makes a micro adjustment to the text into that PDF. So when it prints, the whole image of the text is on the paper. Because I know when I first started doing signings, I'm curious if anybody else has experienced or maybe even noticed this, but I was doing actual size or fit. It was one of those two. And down at the bottom of the CD, the deed of trust, I can see that was cutting off a little bit of the barcode because I would take the printed paper and I'd compare it against the actual digital PDF that I had. So this shrink oversized pages, it's just going to scan the document, and if it shrinks the text, it's going to be by micromillimeters. Nobody's gonna look at that closing package and say, oh my goodness, that notary used shrink oversized pages on that print, I can tell. So this is the safest one, because this one, it will always capture all of the image within the document. Next button down here, choose paper source by PDF page size. So this is why it is so critical to print from the Adobe application, because it has this feature. Once you click this, Adobe's gonna take over and say, hey printer, this page letter, this page legal, letter legal, letter legal, and you don't even have to do anything. So this is just telling your printer and your computer, when you print this document, if it's letter, print it on letter paper. If it's legal, print on legal paper. Now, once you uncheck this, if you hit print right down here, if you hit print, it's only going to be printed on the paper size you have selected in your printer preferences. And your your printing paper size preference is right down here on page setup. So if I click page setup and it says paper size legal or letter, I can choose letter, legal, or any of these other fancy ones that I've never printed off of before. The entire package is going to be printed out on letter paper. And if you are required to print out mixed legal and letter, that's not going to do you any good. And I'm going to show you an example of what it looks like when you print a legal size piece of paper on a letter size paper. So just keep in mind, once this is selected, choose paper source by PDF page size, it overrides whatever you have set up here in page setup. So if you have the tray or the printing paper set to legal or letter, this is saying, hey, I'm overriding you. I'm going to tell the printer to print all mixed legal and letter. Now, if I pause for a few seconds, you guys, I'm looking at my notepad. This one's a tough class for me, just to have everything by memory, and I want to make sure I keep myself on track for all of you. Okay, so Determining page sizes. Have you ever got a closing package? You're like, you're looking at the PDF and you go, well, is this all legal? Is this all letter? I can't tell. There's two things you can do to tell if it's, all legal or letter. And this will kind of get into printing separately, legal and letter as well. So again, we'll pull up our print menu. This is the first option. If you do not have a page separator, as long as this button is checked right here, if you look over to the print preview screen, it's going to tell you, hey, document 8.5 by 11. We know that's letter. And this scroll bar down here at the bottom, you can scan through all 88 pages of this package if you want. 8.5 by 14. We know that one's legal, because that's what you can do if you're wondering, hey, is this thing mixed legal or letter? Pull up this window and just keep clicking through them, see if any of them change. But this has to be checked in order for this preview screen to recognize the paper size correctly. Now, the other way is you can do your handy dandy page separator. And we do have a link for this on Notary Stars. This is another great investment. I don't want to, get into it too long with this, but I use this saying a couple of times a week. Let's see. Okay. And all I'm going to do is separate, and it tells me I've got 38 pages of letter and 60 pages of legal. And it's going to give me two separate PDFs, one of all the letter pages and one of all the legal pages. But, I also use this too with closing packages, that I deal with that unlimited ink. If I'm, questioning if any of the pages are letter or legal, I'll throw it in here and it'll tell me to do so. So that's two ways, but the one in the printing screen, that one's free, but the page separator, that's another good sound investment, because you may use that. All right, and okay, some circumstances you're going to be required to print on all legal or all letter. So I know California and Florida, I've noticed that, because we have clients out there that require everything to be printed on letter. Why that is, it's probably something with their recorder that requires it. Every county and every state can be, different with their electronic recording and what kind of documents they can take. An escrow agent once told me that California charges more to record legal size documents. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. Maybe somebody in here knows. But, some instances you're going to get mixed legal and letter packages, and the title company is going to tell you, hey, always print this entire thing on all legal or all letter. So easiest way to do that, you're going to pull up your printing screen, and we're going to go to where we were before, down in page setup. Now, the key, when you have a mixed legal and letter closing package, or all letter and all legal, and you have to print, vice versa, the key you need to remember is you need to uncheck choose paper source by PDF page size. Because keep in mind, this section here, it is overriding the page setup if that is checked. So we just got the signing, title company in Florida saying, hey, Travis, need you to go out and do this. Just make sure all the documents are printed on all letter paper, regardless of how the package is given to you. No problem. I'm going to click on page setup. Make sure the paper size is set to letter. Click OK. And then you click print. And then all of the pages are going to print on letter. Now, what is going to happen is the legal size pages. Oh, don't want to click that. Don't ever click on print on both sides of paper. So the legal size pages that are 8.5 by 14, it's going to shrink them, because what it's doing, it's fitting a longer line of text on a shorter piece of paper. And I'll show you exactly what this looks like too. I'm going to pull up both of them. All right, just bear with me 1 second, folks. Let me get these situated. I don't know why it's moving really slow. Okay, so our one on the left, this is a scanned page of it, but this is a legal size page printed on letter paper. And the one on the right is a legal size page printed on legal paper. If I zoom out, let's try and get the whole image in here. There we go. So, you can see it looks kind of like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But what happens when you print a legal piece of a legal page on a letter piece of paper, it shrinks the text so it can fit. And you can see that the margins are a lot larger on the letter size paper, because what it's doing on this legal size is it's crunching this down. And you know what, let me do this so you can see where I'm guiding here a little bit better. There we go. You can see these margins. These are probably 2 inch, 2.5 inch, while this is maybe an inch or a half inch. Now here in Arizona, the Maricopa County Recorder will not record anything less than, I want to say 10 or 8-point font. So, when we have notaries that go out and they need to print mixed legal and letter, and they accidentally print everything on letter, and if your deed of trust is on legal size paper and it shrinks it on the letter, it gets rejected at recording. But you just want to be able to identify it and just see the difference between the two and what's going on. But again, all it's doing is shrinking the text and fitting it on a letter size piece of paper. Okay, let's see what we have next on our agenda here. Printing all legal, all letter, perfect. All right, scanning, my favorite one. Okay, so let's say you printed your closing package, you went out and you did the signing, and now you have this strenuous job of scanning back. It's the hardest part of a notary's day, is having to put 100 pieces of paper in a scanner and press a button for it to upload to the computer, right? But scanning can be another big pain point. You just need to figure out how to work your scanner and provide good quality scans, because what I will tell you, and for all of you who are new to Notary Stars and don't know me, I'm Travis, I'm Ronnie's business partner, but I more handle the signing service at Unlimited Inc. So I'm the guy that has a heart attack every time a bad scan comes in and it's causing challenges at funding. What I will tell all of you notaries, signing agents, is provide great quality scans. That is such an awesome professional presentation of your care for the work. Because, when I get signings and I get some train wreck scans back, crooked, upside down, mixed, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different PDFs, I'm going to get through that signing with you, and it'll be the last time I get through that signing with you. Because the notaries that provide good quality scans as one single merged PDF, I will use them over and over and over and over again, because that makes our lives and title's lives and the borrower's lives a lot easier. because you want to keep in mind your scans, they are commonly used for title to send to the lender for funding authorization. And keep this in mind, you know, a lot of these loans, these buyer's files, right? They close the next day. You sign and they fund the next day. Everything's last minute in this industry, right? So you get a signing at 10 o'clock on June 30th, 10 o'clock a.m. on June 30th. It's set to fund tomorrow. Title needs you to complete the signing and produce scans. What title does is they take those scans, once you give them back to them, they forward them over to the lender. The lender reviews them, gives them funding authorization and says, hey, you are authorized to fund as soon as the original closing package arrives at your door. So your scans are saving the borrower and title tons of time to get that loan funded, because now title doesn't have to wait till that package to arrive at 10:30 for them to scan it, for them to send it over to the lender's funding team, for the funding team to review it. I mean, title sending scans ahead of time gives them and the borrowers a major, major jump on funding authorization, and they can get in their home early. And, you know, and that is because of you providing those awesome scans. So just always keep that in mind. Your scans are a big component of professional presentation of yourself, especially for somebody like me. You know, when we're looking for a notary, all I know about you is your work quality, your profile picture, and your bio and your voice on your phone. I don't know any of your other good deeds that you did in your life, especially if we're meeting for the first time. I don't know what kind of person you are personally. So all I know is your work quality and your professional presentation. But this should help you out quite a bit if you do have scanning issues. So first thing that we want to do with our scanner when you buy it is take it out of the box and plug it in. You want to download the drivers for the scanner, same process. And a lot of scanners come with a software program. Usually it comes in the drivers. I don't think anybody really issues a CD anymore. I mean, I think those are pretty outdated. Maybe they do. But anyway, I'm going to open up. I have the Brother 2700W scanner. And this is going to be my software interface for the scanner. So while this is opening, I already have it open. What am I doing? All right, there we go. So this is going to be your software program for your scanner. All scanners are probably going to have something like this. Now, this application here, all of these settings, I can also program them on the scanner itself if I'm not scanning directly into my computer. But for today, you know, I'm just going to show you through here because I'm not going to hold my scanner up and hold a little digital interface up to the window. That would be a little challenging. So what you want to pay attention to are your settings when you scan. So when you scan document size, it's going to give you all these options. Make sure you have it on auto or auto detect, or even if you're shopping for a scanner, make sure the scanner can auto detect the page sizes, because some scanners are really cheap and they will only scan legal or letter, one or the other, or you have to do them separately in the preference. Auto detecting, your scanner detects, hey, this page is letter, this page is legal, and it's going to give you a scanned PDF in that size. And just to show you what a chopped document looks like, because I get these several times a week at Unlimited Ink, as you know, the notary's not reviewing their scans before they're uploading, or they're not experienced enough to kind of notice what their scanner is doing. So here's our practice page of the deed of trust. And what I did with this one earlier, it's a legal size piece of paper. I scanned this at letter. And what happens to it is down at the bottom, it chops it off. And I'll pull up what the correct one looks like. Okay. So it chops it off at the bottom. So if you can imagine a title company wanting full scans and you got a mixed legal and letter and your scanner was set to letter size pages and they're trying to record off of it, you know, that's definitely no good. So make sure you have it set for auto detect. And if you're not sure if it's chopped off or not, pull up the original PDF that you printed from and compare that, you know, one of the pages to the one in your scan for comparison, just to make sure it fits in full frame. Because I see this a lot, and that's a common error that we send out to notaries at Unlimited Ink is chopped scans. You know, please ensure your print or your scanner is set to auto detect, because if you have legal size pages and you're scanning them to a letter size, it's going to hack that bottom part off. All right. Okay. So next, we're going to start to get into file size. Close you, close you. So when you scan a closing package, you want that closing package to be, you know, 15 megabytes or less. You know, honestly, if you can get it like 25, 30, nobody's probably going to drown in the sea of their own tears over it. But one thing that I found out that a lot of people don't know about, and I only know about this option because I get my artwork scanned at like high DPI, and you know, one of my super geek photo friends was explaining to me, explaining this to me. But your resolution, make sure you set your resolution on your scanner to either 300. I mean, if you can get it down to 200 or 100 DPI without your scans losing any quality, even better. Because if you scan at 600 DPI, I think DPI stands for dots per inch, whatever that means. I don't know. It's never been that important enough to me to learn that. All I know is the higher the DPI, the more megabytes my PDF is going to be. So I recommend no more than 300 DPI, and your scanner is probably going to scan that closing package a lot faster at 300 or less DPI than up in the 600 range. Because I know when I start my scanner, and I'll show you a couple of the closing packages here. The one I did at 300 DPI, it was done in about 3 minutes. The 600 DPI took a little over 10 minutes to scan, 100 pages or so. So and you'll see how much slower it operates. And for all of you that do have scanners, play with the DPI. You know, see what it does to your scanner. But you don't need to go as high as 600. 300 or less will do it. Two-sided, make sure two-sided is off. I don't know what that would even really do for a scan, but anyway. Okay, so file size. When you scan your closing packages, you want to make sure the file size is as small as possible and that your scans do not lose resolution. So your file size, again, it should be 15 megabytes or less. You know, again, you're probably okay with 25, 30, even 50s. Nobody's probably going to cry home about it. But just to show you the difference in file size, I scanned this closing package at 600 DPI. And this second one here, the second one here at 300 DPI. So if you're ever wondering how many megabytes your file is, we're going to go back to the handy dandy right click button. So we'll look at the 300 DPI first. You right click, click on properties. And you can see right here, just to the left of the cursor, it's 5.53 megabytes. So not a very big file. Now, if I go to the 600 DPI scan, same thing, I'm going to click on properties. Same file, same amount of pages, but this file is 150 megabytes. So what, like 10, 15 times the file size for the same thing? And where you're going to run into trouble with big files like this, I don't know if anybody here has ever experienced on, Snap Docs or signing order or sending them over to a drive or a secure drive and the file won't upload. A lot of servers that these companies use have caps on the file size that you can load up. And this is usually going to be your culprit here, is the file is just too big. So the first way to address this is to set your scanner DPI, again, 300 or less. If you're going to go less than 300, just make sure you look at your scans and it's not like pixelated or blurry. You want it to look nice and crisp and clear. So that's my 300 one on the left, and let's look at my 600 one. And you can kind of see the image quality. It's just about the same between the two. So again, I am not a tech guru, but the higher the DPI, the more resolution you're going to have on the PDF, or the image. Like when I get my artwork imaged, I mean, they photograph it at I forget what DPI they do it. It's up there in the thousands. I mean, I can zoom into the littlest dot and you can see the detail, and I could print those out for billboard size without them losing resolution. But on a document, you don't need high resolution on a scan. So that's the first way to prevent getting your scans a high file size. Now, the second way is, let's say you scan the closing package. We'll take the 600 DPI one again. Now, bear in mind, this one is at 150 megabytes. We're going to open this up. And we're going to start to get into some of the Adobe tools here in a second. You'll see all these tools on the right-hand side. Just keep in mind when we start getting into these, most of these you need the Adobe Pro version to use. I think the comment one is the only one that you don't have to have the Pro version. Reader still works. But anyway, we have 150 megabyte scan. We need to get this thing, let's just say, under 50. Up here, the very top left, you hit File. You need to compress the PDF. And what does compressing do? Honestly, specifically, no clue, but it reduces the file size. I think it takes out a lot of the garbage files and not needed stuff. But like I said, I'm not a tech guru. All I know is when I click this button, it's going to lessen that 150 megabytes. I think it's going to get it down to, I think 15, but let's see. You want to click on compress PDF. Now it's going to ask you where you want to save the compressed PDF, because it's going to give you a brand new PDF. You're still going to have this 150 megabyte one. So it's going to compress it and it's going to give you the same PDF, but lesser of a size. Today, we're going to save everything on my desktop just so it's easy to find. And I'm going to name it compressed. I'm going to click save. And down here, there's your timeline. This will take a minute or two sometimes. If you watch the training videos I created on Notary Stars, I trimmed out the waiting period for this. So if you're watching that and it looks like my computer did it in like 2 seconds, I trimmed out a couple of minutes so we're not sitting there in silent on a pre-recorded video. So it's going to do its thing. And what it should do is I'm guessing it's probably going to knock it down to about 15 megabytes. And when you do that, now when you have a 15 megabyte file and you go to upload it, to your scan section or the secure portal or wherever, you shouldn't have any problems uploading that PDF and worrying about the server's cap size on individual documents and files being uploaded to them. But we'll give this another minute here. And I'll look at my note sheet just to make sure I'm staying on track. Like I said, it takes a little bit for this to get done. And while this is going, we'll kind of go over some of these tools. It's kind of stuck right now, so you won't be able, we'll open these up in a little bit. But these tools over to the right, when you're scanning, now with your scanner, a lot of scanners aren't going to scan a full, 100, 150, 200 pages. Mine, it will, because I can keep feeding it. So I think it holds maybe up to 75 pages by itself. So usually when like 50 pages are done, I'll feed it some more paper. So when the scan is done, it just gives me a single merged PDF already. But some scanners aren't going to do that. And you're going to have to do 25, 50 pages at a time. And then if you're looking at a 150 page closing package and your scanner spit out, 5 different PDFs, you really want to merge those into one PDF. And this purple icon here is what we're going to use to do that. Also, sometimes you scan and your scanner spits out the scans backwards. This button here, we're going to be able to rotate, delete pages, and we'll get to that here in a second because our compression just finished. All right, in the little pop-up menu down at the bottom here, it says successfully compressed PDF size from 150 megabytes to 13 megabytes. It should save it on the computer. There it is, because you already saved it. So I can close this out. So here, actually, let me put these in a more visible place for all of you. So here's our original package. Right click, properties, 150 megabytes. This is the one we ran the compressor on. Now it gave us a compressed version. Right click, properties, it's 13 megabytes now. So that's the 2 ways that you can reduce file size, the easiest. Set your scanner DPI 300 or less and compress to PDF too. Okay, so merging PDFs. So let's say your scanner doesn't, it only gives you, 25, 50 pages at a time. So keep in mind, when you send your work to Title, again, it's a professional presentation. You think Title wants to go through 6 or 7 different PDFs and merge them for you? You may not get another call again. Merge your PDFs. That looks so good on a notary, and it shows that you care for your quality of work. Really easy tool to do this. All right, we're going to open up. You can open up any PDF to do this. It doesn't really matter which one you open. It doesn't have to be the one that you're combining. So on the right-hand side of Adobe, you have this collapsible window. You can just click on this arrow, and you got all these cool little tools you can use. In order to merge PDFs, you want to click on the Combine Files tool. You click, and it's going to ask you. You can drag and drop over here, or you can do it old school way and find it in your directory. So we're going to take these two PDFs. It's this entire closing package of like 88 pages. We're going to make it into one. Let me open it up so you can see what they look like. So we have our first PDF, which is 45 pages, and our second PDF, which is 43 pages. So we need to get both of these PDFs into one. All you do is click on Combine Files. You need to find the PDFs on your computer. Click and drag. Merge two. Click and drag. Easy peasy, right? Two things you want to pay attention to are at the top. You have the little bullet point icon. If you click on this bullet point icon, it's going to give you the list of the PDFs that you uploaded to merge together. So we got merging file 1 and merging file 2. Now, if you click on the 4 squares, it's going to show you all of the pages within those 2 files. In order to get thumbnails or previews of all of these 2 files, just double click, and it's going to open up all of the pages if you want to look at it that way. If you want to recollapse it, and just go to the first PDF and collapse it again. Now, once you have everything uploaded, up to the top right, it says Combine. Just click on Combine. It's going to do its thing. Minimize that. So here was our merging 1 that was 45 pages. Merging 2 that was 43 pages. Now we got 88 pages, all scanned nice into one. What you want to keep in mind is when you merge them together, you need to make sure you save it. Because if you don't save it and you close it out, you're going to have to do it again. And save it wherever you like, in your file directory, your desktop, wherever you find stuff at easily. And I think, yeah. So if you try to close it before saving, it'll give you a warning. Do you want to save changes, intent? Make sure you save it. And this is the one that you're going to send over to title. But we still have some problems, right, with this merge closing package. Pages upside down. So we want to get these right side up. You have another handy dandy tool over here, and your icons, organize pages. If you click on organize pages, it's going to pull up all the pages in that PDF. If you select them, it gives you a couple of different options on the right hand. And you can rotate them. That way they're right side up. You can delete them if you need to delete pages, especially if your scanner scans like blank pages. I've seen that happen. But for training's sake, this entire package is upside down. You want to select all of the pages unless you really want to do all of these one by one. No, thank you. You can do select all pages by a couple different ways. Easiest way, hold down the control button and hit A. That's your speed key to highlight everything. Now, if you don't like those speed keys, you can click on the first one. You can go all the way down to the bottom, hold down the shift button, and then click on the last one, and it'll highlight everything in between the first and the last one, and including the last one. Now, other thing you want to keep in mind too, maybe not all of the pages came in upside down and there's only a couple of them. You can hold down the control button. And as long as you're holding down the control button while you're clicking, it's gonna individually highlight. So just to do it in a full frame here, if I click on this first one and I hold down the shift button, it's going to highlight everything between the first one I clicked and the last one. If I click on the first one, or really any of them, and then I hold down the control key, it won't do all the ones in between the pages that you click on, only the selected ones. So, try to remember that because that's very useful. But we're going to do them all. Up here at the top, this is kind of your master rotate buttons. I'm going to click on it twice. It rotated them. Now they're right side up. When you're all done, just hit the close button. And don't forget to save. File. And it's going to give me a brand new file. I'll just name it rotate. I close it out. There it is right here. Probably, sorry if I'm going too fast. There it is right there, the rotate. So we've got our merged PDF. It's compressed, it's rotated, it's ready to be sent to title. Now, removing pages from Adobe. You can do this in two places. You can do it through the organized pages. So if you need to remove pages, you just hit the trash can and it's going to take it out. Now, the other place you can do it is combine files. This is the one I use a lot at Unlimited Ink. Let's see, what time is it? 6:10. Yeah, I have time to go over this. No, I do not want to save those changes. Here we go. Note. Yeah, we'll just do it on the deed, I guess. Now we'll go to the closing package. Okay, so we're going to open up a closing package. Again, we're going to click on combine files. You want to find the one that you want to delete the pages to. And you can do it in here as well. The reason I like this one is because some of these are, packages are 150, 200 pages. And sometimes when I get scans, from notaries on the unlimited ink side of things, and they're shuffled like a deck of cards, and we're trying to help the notary and we're not making any headway on it, and we get to the point where we have to reorganize it ourselves, or title calls us in the morning saying, put this package together right now, these scans are awful. I use this feature because you can open it up. If I delete a page, and it's not doing what it normally does, of course. You know what, I'll do a separate video, because there's a way when you delete a page that these numbers won't change. And you can pull up the package and compare the numbers, so it just helps you piece it together. But I'm not going to try and fight with that right now, because I know we're on a little bit of time constraints, but that's just a little bit extra, and you probably won't need to do that too much anyway, because I use another software application to arrange them myself too. Okay, so what do we got next here? Rotating, converting. Okay, so that's going to be really the bread and butter that you're going to be using as a notary. A couple other helpful tips with Adobe. You can convert different files to Adobe using the Microsoft Print to PDF version. So let's pull up our Notary Stars website. So here's our awesome website here. Now, I will do this with title sometimes. If I've got title, coming at us saying, hey, this notary, they struck out in their notarial section, Jane Doe, AKA Susie Doe. And I got to tell them, well, the notary can only notarize, the name on the ID. They can't notarize the AKA because they don't have satisfactory evidence that they were that person, yada, yada. And I will send them, screenshots of the NNA, the Secretary of State, in a PDF format too. Because the nice thing when converting like a web page to a PDF, it's going to give you the URL of the website, which kind of proves validity of your findings and where you got it from. So if you ever need to convert something to a PDF, web page, JPEG photo, anything on the computer, it's the same process no matter what. You're going to pull up your print preview screen. So I'm on the web page. I'm just going to hit Control P. That's always the easiest way to get something to print. Now it's going to give you the web version of your print menu. You want to look for Microsoft Print to PDF. This is a freebie you get on your computer. You can do save as PDF. I think you have to have Adobe Pro for that to work. I could be wrong. It could be free, but I've always just used Microsoft Print to PDF. We're going to click on that. And then you want to hit print. And what this is going to do is going to give you a file. We'll just name this one print 2. And here it is right here. There's our PDF of Notary Stars. It's going to take a while to spool, but you don't want to, it's not going to look just like the website. It's going to be formatted all funkily, if that's even a word. But you can use that feature with photos, websites. You can make a PDF pretty much out of anything with that free little feature. And I believe that is it. And I want to give you all plenty of time for questions. Editing. Okay, last thing. You can edit PDFs. I will caution you with this. Don't ever edit a lender package. This is just for an example only. In your notarial sections, anything you have to fill out, use a pen or a stamp. I caution you even on using stamps because some lenders and title companies don't like notaries, using date stamps and all of that. But if you're ever forming a PDF or something, you can click on edit. Now this is a scan, so what it's going to do, it's going to screen it and it's going to determine what's text and what isn't. I probably should have just done this on a loose leaf. Yeah, let me do that. This will probably drag on for a while. All right, let's pull up this Florida acknowledgement. So if you use loose leaves for your notarizations, because this is not in a lender package, you can speed load these all you want. Let's say you didn't want to write in the Florida, the state and the county and all of the redundant stuff every time. We're going to click on edit PDF. And up at the top, there's add text. You want to click on that. You can type in the county, the date. So what is today? 6/30. There you go. So that's how you fill in a PDF. Again, your loose leaves should be fine, but don't take a lender's package and go through every notarization and edit dates in. You're going to get burned on that. Believe me, I dealt with it at Unlimited Ink on several occasions where we get the closing package back, the notary went in there, and I have even had notaries add dates on the borrower's signature lines already. That's no bueno. That might invoke a full re-sign and delay somebody's closing. Just take the few extra seconds, to write it in. Okay, that concludes my presentation, and I am going to open the floor for questions. Let me stop my screen share here. Okay. So if you do have questions, go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll start with Anissa here. And go ahead and unmute Anissa. How may I help you today?
I just wanted to say, how do you compare Notary Rotary's page separator to what you were showing us today, or Adobe printing through Notary Rotary or Adobe?
Okay, so the Notary Rotary PDF page separator. I caution any of you using that because you're uploading a closing package to a public site, and that program is solely just for using page separator. That doesn't have anything to do with like printing and merging and combining files. All that does is it extracts all the legal and the letter pages and gives you separate PDFs of all letter and all legal contained within the mix package. But with that feature, I know it's free, but proceed with caution, because if those borrowers' information is compromised on the website, you can be held liable for that. And then as far as the page separator goes, you guys, you know, like I said, you're all business owners. You know, you've got to invest in your business, and there's good investments and bad investments, right? This page separator, and we have a link for it on Notary Stars. This is quick and easy. I think I paid, I don't know, $50 for it. And if I need to separate legal and letter, you know, again, click, drag, does its thing. In case all of you weren't here in the beginning when I went over this, just click, drag, click, separate. It's going to take a minute to do its thing. And it's going to give you two separate files, all of the letter and the legal.
So your advice is the page separator or either printing through Adobe is safe, more secure?
Absolutely.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be printing all the PDFs through Adobe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let me stop my share here. All right, Natasha Glover, if you would kindly unmute, please.
Yes, thank you. Great presentation today.
Thank you.
And I know it's unrelated to what we did today. I needed to know what was that one that you held about that you can go on and look up like the rules and the regulations of Fannie and Sally? I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it's like 1,300 pages or something like that.
I'm sorry, the connection was a little bit shaky. Can you go ahead and repeat that, please?
Okay. I was asking, this question is kind of unrelated to what we were doing today, but I needed to know what is that site that you were telling us about? Like they basically give out all the rules and regulations about the loans, like what you can do, what you can't do. I couldn't remember. I know you said it was like Sally Mae and Fannie Mae or something like that.
You were talking about the Fannie Mae lending guidelines. So
there we are. Yes.
Yeah, you can just Google Fannie Mae lending guidelines. They're one of the top hits, should take you to the downloadable PDF. You can find it on their website if you want, but you'll probably get a quick link if you just Google that one.
Oh, that was it. Oh, thank you, Travis. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
Mhm.
All right, and let's see who is next here. Susan Burgo, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Travis and everyone.
Hello.
So one of Unlimited Inc.'s title companies, they want all legal size documents. And what I found recently is on one of the pages, it will have at the bottom the signature line for someone. And then on a full separate page, the only thing on the next page is their name.
Mhm.
Well, when I go to scan back, I cannot get that page to scan. And I've turned it upside down thinking that'll work. But the scanner that I use in the car is too fast, I think, and it just will not pick it up. So what I started to do was to just write in the comments. So the person checking the scan backs knows like, hey, this page is not coming up. Tried everything, but it is included in the regular packet. Do you have any idea on what to do in that instance, or maybe reducing the DPI even more or something to try and pick that up?
Yeah, the DPI shouldn't have anything to do with that. That's more of a page detection. So, and it might be your scanner too that just won't do it. And guys, especially anybody here, and just let me make this declaration. Anybody here that's been on our assignments, we don't speak our clients' names here, which you did not, Susan, but I just wanted to declare that. So let's not, ever discuss that, because we have an agreement with our clients that we don't mention them on here. But
That's why I
that-
didn't mention it.
yeah, no, I thought it was worth noting. So thank you for actually bringing that up and giving me that thought.
Okay.
So very good question. That I would have to look at it as, I would have to probably be in front of your scanner, to see what's going on. You can email our general inbox if you have an order number that happened on. That way I can see the issue, but that just might be that brand of scanner not able to pick that up. But to answer that question, honestly, I'm not sure, because if it's set to auto detect all legal, all letter, it should be picking up, everything on that page.
Yeah, you would think. The only thing I can think is that the one in the car is very fast and it was hooked up into the computer. And I had time on one of them where I brought it home and I scanned it on the slower one wirelessly and it picked it up fine.
Okay, then it's probably the scanner itself. And you might want to set it to a higher DPI or a slower scanning speed, just to see if you can self troubleshoot it. And a lot of this stuff with the equipment, like all the stuff I'm telling you guys, like I said, I am not a tech guru. I've been through the same pains as all of you with printing and scanning. I just start clicking buttons and looking online and trying different things to see what works. You're not going to break the stuff. Worst case, you can do a factory reset on it if you don't remember what you did to all of this stuff. But more than likely, if your scanner at home is picking it up and the one that you have in your car is not, it's either a setting for that specific scanner in your car, or just that scanner is not doing not doing the job that it's intended to do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excuse me, everyone. Okay, and we will go to Jackie Clark. Would you please unmute?
Yes, hello. My question is similar to the last one about the scanning. Is it okay to just always use the legal? For all of them, like whether it's letter or legal, but scan it all legal?
Yeah, good question. I wouldn't be able to say yes or no with 100% confidence, but what I can give you with 100% confidence is I would recommend scanning it as is, if that's the way they wanted you to print the closing package. And why so? Why even bring in a variable, right? That could be wrong. Like if one way is going to be right, you're not going to have any trouble with title or the lender, complaining about it. You always want to go with that method. But mixed legal and letter, mixed legal and letter, scanning all to legal, probably not. But, why have that little bit of unassurance about it? So that's probably the best I can do for you on that. But in a professional recommendation, I would scan it the way it was printed, and that's always going to be the safest bet.
The auto, because it seems like mine does not always do that auto correctly.
And it may not. And like I said, every scanner is different. And for all of you that are like new and looking to invest in a scanner, we have scanner recommendations on websites. But what I will say with a scanner is, me personally, my scanner is a standalone scanner. I don't have one attached, to my printer, because I wanted something I can carry around in my backpack and scan from the closing table so I can get it out of the way right after the signing and move on to the next. Because in my opinion, if you've got a signing that requests scans, the job's not done until the scans come back. And I always wanted the job to be done as soon as possible. So make sure when you invest in your equipment, everyone, that it has the tools that you need, you know, in this business, because some people will go out and get a scanner and it won't scan mixed legal or letter or do it separately. And call Brother, HP, Epson, call their product support and their sales team and tell them what you need. I need a standalone scanner, a good quality one, portable, less than 5 pounds. Give them all your specifics, and they'll point you in the right direction. But I'm going to be honest with you, if you're paying less than $300 for a scanner, probably not going to be the one you want for this job. And I know the scanner is a chunk of change, you guys, but once you get it, what, $300 do what? 3-4 signings, it's paid for. You know, I had a backup scanner too, and I always thought ahead, because I didn't want my scanner to break. You know, what if it like broke in the middle of the day? You know, I always had a backup. But, you know, if you're a full-time signing agent, getting 3, 4, 5 a day, you know, $300 investment in a scanner, you know, that's pennies. You know, you could pay for that in half a day.
One last thing, is the file compression and the merging, is that on the free plan?
No,
You have to get the pro, okay.
right. And the Adobe videos that I just created, because we just redid the whole, and I'll have more to come. But I wanted to get the important stuff out first. But the very first video, it talks about, you know, the differences between Adobe Reader and Adobe Pro. Let me open up the PDF here. Yeah. All right. Adobe Reader, I believe it's only going to give you this comment section. I don't know if it does the fill-in sign. I don't even use that at all. But it will not give you combined files, edit PDF, or the organized pages. Like if this were Adobe Reader and you hit File Compress, I think an alert pops up saying you need to upgrade to have this feature. Pretty much Adobe Reader is only going to be good for you to print from, but it's not going to give you the ability to merge in the PDFs, you know, to split them, delete pages, organize the pages. You know, it's pretty much only uses, you know, to use its printing window. Oh, and there's our Notary Stars website. It finally spooled. That's what our PDFs looks like. I wasn't sharing my screen, was I? Let me do that. There we go. That's what our website looks like when you convert it to a PDF. You can see at the bottom, it gives the URL. I used to have to do that when I worked at the bank and get transaction statements to overlap their monthly statements. They would have to file, print, change to a PDF, so it had the URL at the bottom. But most of these combined files, why did I press it? Reopen you here. Combined files, edit PDF, organize pages, and file compress. Yeah, those you have to have the paid version. But like I said, it's about $30 a month for the pro version, and it's going to be one of your best investments. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Brenda Padilla. You can unmute yourself. All right, we'll move on to the next. Stacy, is this Stacy Cooks?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, is this Stacy Cooks?
No, Brenda Padilla.
Oh, Brenda. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Brenda.
Yes, I have a comment and question. The printer
Sure.
that I use is the 6390 DW 5-in-1. I never had problems so far, but the thing is that I'm been using that for a while, you know, since 2020.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Brenda, you muted yourself.
So my question is that what did you comment about that printer 5-in-1, 5-in-1, 5-all-in-1?
Okay, so what's your question about it?
No, I want to say, want to comment about that printer. It's okay. So far, I'm not been having problem, but I want to make sure if it, maybe in the future or no, so something that I can
Okay.
consider.
Yeah, so look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's printing out mixed legal and letter just fine, there you go. If it's
And the other question that I had is when you did edit PDF, right? I always have problem with the line. It's never getting the straight. So I don't know why, but I noticed that you click something before add text. What you click? There was something that guides you. So when you write on the document, be straight.
oh,
Can you please?
let me pull up the acknowledgement.
Because I saw something guiding you, so I need to see where you click, what you click before you add text. Wait, puppy.
Okay, so to add text,
Uh-huh.
we are gonna click on edit PDF,
Yes.
and you need to add text. You need to click on the add text button at the top
Uh-huh.
and just put your cursor on the line. I think if you hold it down.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
Because I see that there's a letter A and like a sign, something.
yeah. So that's gonna kind of show you where it's gonna position at. So once you hover it over that line, that's gonna show you where the where that letter would be at. Once
Yeah,
you
because I
click.
have Adobe Pro, you know, I pay for that monthly too.
Okay.
Really. So, and I never see that sign. It show when I trying to edit on my document. It's not in the file, but other document, I mean.
Okay, and you might need to update it as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you don't have auto updates on Adobe, you might have to manually update it.
how I update it? How?
So what you can do is click on that search bar right here,
Uh-huh.
type in the word update,
Okay.
and then this button check for updates should
Mhm.
pop up. And if you click on that, you can click on check for updates, and this should scan your computer and all your software programs to give you the latest updates. Now, if it doesn't, what I would recommend doing is go to the Adobe site and just re-download it, and it'll give you the most updated version.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, this is Stacy Cooks.
Hey, Stacy, how are you?
I'm fine, Travis. My question with the compression, well, first of all, that 150 megabyte file you compress, I never get 13. So is it because you're compressing it on high compression, which when I'm out in the field doing it, it tells me to give me low quality. So I try to do medium, and sometimes that don't work with a big file. For instance, like a week ago, last Thursday, close to midnight, 224 pages.
Mhm.
And I had a problem, so I had to send separate files because it was just not working. So my question is, what's the best compression quality? Should we always stick with good quality, and then if we need to call and see if it's okay to send the separate packages?
Good question. So when you're scanning it, do you know what DPI you have your scanner set at?
300.
300. Have you tried scanning at like 100 yet?
My 580, the way I have to scan in the field, does not go that low.
Okay, and
On
300
my
is the
computer at home,
lowest.
it does, but when I'm in the field, no.
Okay, but 300 is the lowest in the field.
Yes.
Okay, so to answer your question, I don't know, because you might need to update your Adobe as well.
I have.
Because when I click on compress, if I remember this correctly, let's see, save it to my
I
desktop.
think it didn't give you an option on the computer.
No, it doesn't give me an option. And I think I could have swore the older versions of Adobe gave like lower medium options. But yeah, honestly, I don't know. And you know, as I mentioned to you guys, like I am not a tech guru or whatsoever, but I'm just I'm running the latest version of Adobe, and I don't know why yours would be giving you medium or high quality in those options, because I know it used to do that. Because when I updated this a while ago, it's like, you know, what happened to the other options? So what you may want to do is just delete it from your computer and reinstall it so you can get this version. Because yeah, I mean, every time I do this, it dumbs it down quite a bit.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, let's see who is next here. All right, Tyrone Vaughn. What's up, Tyrone? Let me have you unmute.
How you doing, sir? Can you hear me?
Enlisted. I was enlisted. Don't call me sir.
That's right, you work for a living.
Me and Tyrone were Marines, so we've got some inner humor with one another. What's up, man? How can I help you?
Hey, look, the question that I have is, what is the difference between compress or going to optimize and doing reduce file?
Good question. I had no idea, because I've never done optimize and reduce file. Let me write it down and I'll play with it this weekend, and maybe I can add that onto the training video. But to answer your question, I absolutely have no idea.
Okay, that's all I had. Marine.
Okay. Like I said, you guys, I'm not a pro at this. I only learned to use what I needed to. Optimize. Let me just write this down, because if I don't write stuff down. /compress. Okay, we are going to go to our newest notary who just got his commission yesterday, Mr. Ronnie Mickle. Go ahead and unmute.
I appreciate you allowing me to unmute. I'm still getting over COVID. I know a lot of people have heard about it, but Travis, I just wanted to interject. I will tell you that my family was checking up on me, and if you can't hear it in my voice, I'm still getting over it. I'm perfectly fine now, but I'm still got the residuals. Anyways, so my question, or not question, but a statement is, I don't know what you went over because I was on the phone with family during most of this meeting, is that we've had a problem in Arizona with notaries using Adobe to fill in their notarial certificates prior to the signing. I just
did
want to
go
make
over
sure
that.
that we address this and make sure that you know that you cannot use an Adobe editor to pre-fill in your certificates prior to the signing. Did we go over this?
Yes, and let me get your opinion on it because that's a good point. So what I went over in it is, let me get a PDF here. I don't want to click on it because it's a scan package and it's going to scan every page of it and take forever. But pretty much it stated in the lender's package, do not use the PDF editor to add in your pre-filled dates. However, it is a feature that's available to you. If you're attaching loose leaves, that shouldn't be consequential because it's not part of the lender's package. It's coming from the notary. So, if like California or Florida, where they have specific loose leaves that they need to use, I think they should be fine with their loose leaves. They just can't go into a lender or titles documents themselves to, edit and add and put that stuff in.
So let me just explain why we don't use an editor to fill out our certificates. I'm the one that pretty much laid down that law at Unlimited Ink app before Travis came along, and we just used it as a rule of thumb. So we had a company that reached out to us and said, why are your notaries using a PDF editor in order to edit the documents? And I'm sorry if my dogs bark. I put myself on mute for a second, but when you run your documents through a PDF editor online, like Adobe, you're now connecting to the internet and you're altering a document that was already created by an attorney before. And we don't want to tick off the attorneys, right? We've had instances where they come back and said, hey, you're using an editor software. They still stamp it, they still sign it, but everything else is altered. And it's showing them that you're running it through an online service, which Adobe runs through the internet. You don't want to bring attention to yourself for using the software, even though we always do. These documents are designed from the attorneys of title or escrow to come to you and be manually filled out. When you use an Adobe editing software, you're drawing attention to connecting to the internet. We're doing a lot of RON training right now. We're talking about RON safety. You're drawing attention to something that should be manually done. And you don't want to bring attention to anything. Those documents were meant for you to hand fill out and process. If you're operating outside of Unlimited Ink, which is our signing agency, you're on your own. And we've had a couple of notaries that have wound up on blacklist for using editing software. So I just want to make sure we're very clear at the end of this presentation or near the end of it, which I hope we have still more questions to come, that you don't use it to edit any document in any way. And also, I'm guilty of having a title officer asking me on a Saturday, yes, when I did it, but the answer is no.
Ronnie, can you
now.
state that again? You kind of cut out for that. I know what.
Sure, I'm sorry, I was receiving a phone call because I'm doing this
okay.
from my phone as well.
You know what incident you're talking about.
The answer at the time when I was asked, can you edit a document for me? I said yes, but notaries are not allowed to create, edit, do anything to documents. We fill them out. And so I just want to remind, as we're doing this Adobe presentation, if you're asked to edit a document, that is not your place. That's not your scope of business. You can't change the vesting. You can't add anything in. You can't put in your pre-fill your notarial certificates. Sure, do you have that ability? Great. Yes, you do. But you should not use that ability as a notary.
What about loose leaves? What's your opinion about a loose leaf since it's
On a
not?
loose leaf, yes, you're fine
Yep.
because that's not created by someone else.
Perfect.
You draw the line as if the document was created by someone else.
Perfect. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I went over.
Yep. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was in there. And I'm glad that we did it again, so it's reiterated at the end of the video as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, anybody else have questions? Carol, did you still have a question? Carol Kavina? Let me,
It was more of a confirming with you when you said all else fails, turn your computer off or reboot, whatever it's called. Just want to say I had that happen today, and when you were saying you're not a techie, I'm not a techie, so I was on help with support, and they couldn't figure it out, and the client was having to wait, and I said I'm just gonna have to give this up. I need to get another notary on it because I just can't have her waiting any longer. And I suggested, why don't we just like turn it off and do that? Can we do that? Anyway, so he said, no, that's not gonna work. So he left. I was gonna give up the signing, and I turned off my computer just to try it anyways, and it works. I mean, that's like the miracle. It's also techie, and really what works best is just turning off your computer and turning it on. Anyways, but yeah, I was just wanted to agree with you that that works sometimes.
no, I mean,
thanks.
that's a good point. And, like case in point, right? That kind of, validates, what I said at the beginning. You ever having tech problems with the computer, it's not printing to your printer, shut that thing off, turn it back on, let it cycle. Sometimes its cache builds up and it's got to eject a bunch of stuff. And
so, yeah, I love it. So everything's so techie. It's like, you just turn it off,
right.
turn it back on. And it's
There
good.
you go.
Yeah. So thanks for the Adobe information. I don't know anything about it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. No, thank you.
All right.
Okay, and let's go on to Angela Parks. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. I have a comment and a question.
Go for it.
If you're downloading the Acrobat Reader for the first time, just be mindful of those check boxes on the left-hand side, because if you don't deselect them, you're going to get other software you don't really want. Second question is to Ronnie's point. I'm curious. So when a loan package comes from a signing service to print, those files aren't secured already, like password protected. So you can only print them. They're actually just open files.
No, they're not open. I mean, they're typically uploaded to a secured server. So like we use the signing order platform. The PDF itself isn't password protected. And the videos I created show you how to password protect. We have a little bit of time at the after these questions. I can show you how to do that real quick. That's really easy. But I think what Ronnie and I were getting at with it is you do not want to alter a legal document issued by a lender or title, but they're not password protected, but the lender knows what they're supposed to look like.
And if you don't mind me chiming in on that as well. So Ms. Angela, when they upload the documents to a secure portal, sometimes they don't password protect them. They're not password protected. They're just sending the PDF that the lender sent to them. Honestly, we are the last chain of command, so we sometimes do things a little bit more strict because we're the last time that file is passing through any set of hands. If you get a file, it's not password protected, great. It came from a secure portal, I hope. And if it didn't, you shouldn't nitpick at them. But when it does, putting it through a PDF editor gives them ammunition against you. And Travis and I just actually handled a situation, I won't go into it tonight, where we were like, really? This is the notary's fault? It went to the lender's hands, the title hands, and now it's the notary's fault?
Yeah.
We always say the notary is the first one to go under the bus. And you, and I'm going to say not you, not Miss Angela, all of us are the last man on the totem pole. even though our job is very important. And if you put your documents through a PDF editor, they can use that as ammunition against you for anything they've done wrong. So that's why we don't put them through a PDF editor to edit those documents.
Well, no, I understand that. I wouldn't edit somebody else's file. I worked help desk in a law firm for 5 years. We secured them before they were distributed. So my question was, I just wanted to make sure I understood you correctly, that you actually get files that are editable. I would have assumed, because I haven't had one yet, I would have assumed that the documents are not even editable.
They are, and unfortunately,
Okay.
we protect ourselves as notaries.
Yeah.
A lot of title and escrow. Let's say an escrow officer sends you a file that's editable. First of all, they're uneducated about doing so.
That's why I'm surprised.
Yeah, don't be, because it's going to happen often, because they have an entire company to stand behind them and insure them. We as notaries only have ourselves. And so that's why we stress these things to notaries, because we don't have the deeper pockets of title and escrow or lenders to protect ourselves when they come back and say, well, this wouldn't have happened if. And, I always teach the path of least resistance, and that's why I wanted to bring that up.
That's interesting.
I hope I answered it, but.
Well, yeah, it's just me personally, if I'm sending somebody a PDF that I don't want them to mess with, I lock it down, I delete all the metadata, and then send it. I never send somebody an editable PDF. At the very least, I'll leave it open enough that a screen reader can get it, or accessibility things, but I wouldn't let it be just purely editable.
I'll tell you this right now, and for everybody on the call and anybody watching the replay, us as loan signing agents make way more than title. We carry more insurance per transaction than most title agencies carry. Well, not the title agency, but the escrow officer themselves. Because again, they have an entire company backing them up. Whereas we, on the flip side of things, when they're the last person to touch the file, we're the easiest target because we're usually independent agents, individual businesses, going up against a title agency which is much larger than a lender that's much larger. So we have to be more careful with what we do. And that's why we bring this into training, because it's so much easier to go after you or even me at my level of business with unlimited ink. So much easier to go after me than going after Quicken Loans. They can do whatever they want to do. They got deep pockets. They can stay in arbitration forever. I cannot, and definitely the individual notary cannot.
Oh, yeah. I've witnessed it firsthand.
So that's why I brought that up, because I wanted to make sure that we talk about these things, as a group, because the lowest man on the totem pole, no matter how much we make, can never go against Quicken Loans or UWM or any of the bigger lenders that say, well, my 8 attorneys to your 1 say that you can't edit the documents. I'm done with that comment. If anybody wants to say anything.
Yeah, don't use it. Again, guys, like I said, I've had lenders or in title kickback packages with PDF editors, because anytime I see that when we do our scan review, I have to bring it up to title. Like, look, they did this. You need this thing re-signed. And yes, a lot of them absolutely get those re-signed. They're not going to risk it. I mean, God forbid, right? It passes funding authorization and recording. Then it goes on to get reviewed by the investors that buy the loan, and the investors say, Then they kick it back, and it's a major post-closing issue a month or 2 after that signing. You don't want to deal with that. Just take the little bit of time to write in, the information. But, your loose leaves, you can speed load those all you want. But if those documents are being issued to you by another company, especially in the real estate world, don't, what's the saying? Don't poke the bear. You know, those companies make billions. 8 attorneys on you is pennies to them to get their way. So just caution with all of that. All right, and I will go to Danielle Hill in New Jersey. Can you go ahead and unmute?
Hi,
And then
everyone.
Travis, Miss Danielle, before you go, I just want to
Sure.
let you know, for video footage sake wise, we're at the 2-hour mark. And whoever has their hand raised now, Travis, please honor that. But we have been practicing at Notary Stars, and Travis doesn't usually teach. We've got to wrap it up at some point. And I love every question, and we always have contacts at Notary Stars or help at Notary Stars if you have questions after. But we got to limit it to because we're at the 2-hour mark, and YouTube gets onto us when we upload too much more than
Okay, okay. Yeah, I got one more from Ellie after Danielle, and we'll do our wave and call it a day. All right, what's up, Danielle?
All right, quick question. What do you suggest as far as emailing? Do you suggest maybe a portal, or do you suggest a specific way to send it so that you're not sending it through Google and it gets there, you know, I guess your regular Gmail and it gets there all in one piece?
Very good
Travis,
question.
can I answer that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we have gone over to, I know Travis went over this tonight, even though I wasn't here for it. He went over reducing your file size. Most signing agencies are going to give you a portal to upload those documents to. If you're not given a portal, Our Records is your next fail-safe. Do not ever email your signer's information, even if you're requested. And if you are requested, you ask them to send you an email first that says, if that information is compromised when you do not have a secure server to upload to, that you will have no responsibility for emailing it. You need to protect yourself as a notary. If you have to break it up into several files, Our Records will do that for you. They'll handle, 25 megabytes or less, probably I think up to 100. I don't have the specifics on what it costs or anything like that tonight, but you should definitely use a secure email to email anything out. Now, if they're not using it to send it to you, that's on them. But when you send out, you're now responsible. And if they can trace it back to you that it was intercepted from you, you're the one in trouble. So don't let, and Travis says it best, don't let anybody compromise your integrity. When it comes to uploading documents or sending documents, make sure you're using a secure server. Our Records is the go-to at the moment that I know of. Most cost effective for notaries, and you'll have to use it very less. But that's only if you have to email documents. Most of the time, most reputable signing agencies on Signing Order or SnapDocs are going to ask you to upload them to a secure portal.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it should be few and far between when you have to email, especially closing documents. And there's attachments that you can put on like your Gmail where you can send them encrypted. But if I were to pull up this real quick, but if it came down to it and they're persistent and they sent you communication, I am permitting you to email this. I have a video of this on our new Adobe videos, but Adobe Pro, window pane to the left, protect, little shield right there, protect using password at the top. Click on advanced options, encrypt with password. Require a password to open the document. I think it has to be 6 long. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this, but be clever with your passwords. It's going to have you confirm the password. Okay. Yeah.
Most title agencies use the zip code of the property in order to do it, and then say it will be the zip code of the property address. You can do that back to them, because since they sent it to you, they should know the property address.
And so once I close this out here, if you reopen it, it's gonna have the person put in the password that you created. The most foolproof way, create the password, say, hey, I emailed you the PDF, give me a call. I'll give you the password on the phone. That way you're not, insinuating any type of password in the email, to give that away to any interceptors or whatever. That's kind of a dual level of security for it. Okay, and we got one more question here.
you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Ellie, what you got here? Go ahead and unmute.
My question is not related to tonight's topic, but it's about on the note. What if the signer accidentally dated the note and you only have one copy? Can you have the signer cross it out and initial? Would that be okay with the lender?
Very good question. So this is my recommendation on it. Have a mobile printer so you can reprint. However, if they date the note, and this is just from my experience, yes, the lender can reject it because it doesn't call for a date. But this day and age, most of the time when they date the note, it's not that big of a deal, because I don't even hit for that in our quality assurance anymore, just through my research with our title partners. So best thing to do, honestly, is if they date the note and that's the only copy you have, you're probably fine just turning it in as is, these days, but just be willing to get it fixed if need be, but you're probably not going to hear anything of it. I don't think it's that big of a deal as it was like post financial regulations, right when everything was fresh, and things are a little looser now. But I would not recommend striking the date and initialing it, because what we get at Unlimited Ink a lot on the deed of trust riders and notes, if there's strikes and changes on it, they will kick them back to us saying, nope, the lender does not want any errors on this, get it fixed, do it we need a clean document. So you're probably safer leaving the date on there instead of having them strike it.
Okay, thank you.
Just to follow up with him, I just want to say that, again, we did an episode on Notary Stars Unlimited, 2 months ago, about if you're a mobile notary, the mobile printer and the mobile scanner, if you're not printing duplicate copies, which most companies still require other than MROP, if you're not printing duplicate copies for your signers, you should have that mobile printer and mobile scanner capability in order to fix an error like that. I will tell you, when I get a clean package, and Travis can probably verify this as well, when I get a clean package back from a notary, and we just got another company that's using Notary Stars because of this. I talked about this a couple of months ago as well. Our 26th or 27th company that's using the Notary Stars. When we get a clean package back and we look down and we say, wow, that's perfect, it does not go unnoticed. You may not hear the feedback about it, but when we look down and we go, this is perfect, there's no crossouts, there's no nothing. When you take pride in your work as a notary signing agent and you send back, even if you didn't print 2 copies, and you send back a perfect package, it speaks volumes and it will get you more business in the long run.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that. My say mobile printer, it's not really a mobile printer, it's just small enough to where I can lug it around at a bag. That thing has saved my tail more times than I can tell you. Like, that is such an awesome security blanket. Document gets messed up, pull that out of the bag, hook it up to the computer, reprint, problem solved right then and there. Don't have to worry about driving back out. And yeah, trust me, when we get clean closing packages, especially from like out of state notaries and areas that we don't, do a lot of volume in, I'm jumping for joy. Because especially any of you that work for Unlimited Ink, and and you've been sent back out to the closing table, you guys, me and my staff, we have no joy in sending a notary back out to the closing table. Like, every night when we have that list of red where you have to go revisit the borrower and get signed, the lesser that red list is, the better I sleep at night. We want ones and dones, and that mobile printer that will really alleviate you of a lot of trouble. Okay, so that is going to conclude our session this evening. If you are comfortable, go ahead and turn on your camera. We are going to do our signature wave. I think this is the first signature wave that I've led. I'm so nervous. All right, everybody, start waving. Again, you guys, if you have any questions, you can please, you can email us at contact@notarystars.com, and you can check out the Adobe training videos. I plan on doing a lot more of those short videos because I like to do them nice and short and sweet. More to come, but check those out. That'll be grouped in with this presentation as well, and it gets right to the point, and you don't have to comb through a 3-hour video finding the spot that you want. Awesome. Go out there, be great, and I'll see you on the next go around. Thanks, everybody.